Hello all, I hope you are having a fabulous day. Today I will be sharing with you my most disappointing books of 2016. So I'm a little behind on videos, so I'm still doing end of year videos. I think, especially as a reviewer, it's just as important to talk about the books that we don't like as it is to talk about the books we do like. And that in no means I am saying these books are awful or anything about you if you like them. You are entitled to your own opinion just like I am entitled to my own. So please don't hate me for disliking any of these books. I know some of these are favorites of a lot of people. I have 9 books I want to talk about in this video, so let's just get started. Coming in at 9 is You by Caroline Kepnes. This book is told in second person. You walk into the grocery store and you do this. And it's told in the point of a guy stalking a girl, so it's him watching her, and it is beyond creepy. And it's a thriller. It was so hyped up. I do really like the second person narrative, but I just feel like the characters took things too far. It was too creepy, it was too gruesome, it was too much for me. I definitely see why so many people love this book, and I get it. It's just definitely not my kind of book. Coming in at number 8 is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I just really don't like Neil Gaiman books. I'm coming to discover he and I not on the same wavelength. But I really like him as a person. I've listened to his speech Make Good Art. I really, really, really love it. I just don't like the books I've read by him. I've read The Ocean at the End of the Lane and The Graveyard Book. I didn't like either of them. This is about a young boy whose parents died and is raised by ghosts and ghouls and creatures of a graveyard. And I feel like that gimmick was the focus and there wasn't enough story, and I don't know, I didn't like the development of the characters and I didn't feel attached to any of the characters. Coming in at number 7 is The End by Lemony Snicket. This is the 13th and final book in a series of unfortunate events, which I listened to all of the books on audiobook over the last year preparing for the Netflix show, which is so good. But this ending was just so wildly disappointing. To read 12 books leading up to this, to have a 13 book series and to have it end like that, it just felt like a punch to the gut. It was just, why? And that's not to say I didn't like the series, because I liked all of the series. I just really was so disappointed by the ending. Coming in at number 6 is A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. I found this book to just be very reminiscent of the times it was written in. So it is about a group of girls in, I think, like the 1800s or in the past. I definitely know it's in the past. I honestly don't remember too much about this book because I completely dismissed it. I know a lot of people like this book. It could have just been so much more than it was. I think it really knocked some people down, and I didn't appreciate kind of the tones it had about certain characters. I felt the characters were just very toxic to each other and not good friends, and even though they were supposed to be friends, I just didn't enjoy it, and I will not be continuing the series. Coming in at number 5 is Into the Still Blue by Veronica Rossi. The thing about this book is it's the 3rd book in a series. I enjoyed the 1st book, disliked the 2nd book, and the things I disliked in the 2nd book could have been rectified in the 3rd book, and instead of being rectified were heightened and worsened, and it was just a very disappointing conclusion to the series. Coming in at number 4 on this list is The Selection by Kiera Cass. I really disliked this book. There was a lack of world building. They literally used the girls sitting in a classroom to build up the world and teach about this world. I felt that was just such a cop-out. It's fine if you liked it. I felt like this was marketed as one thing and was actually another thing, and that's not necessarily the fault of the author all the time, but in this case I think it was how she wrote it and how she intended it to be, is that she wants it to be this romance book, but she kind of encases it in a dystopian, and it's not a dystopian. And I know people tell you read it for the romance, not the dystopian. I didn't like the romance either. A lot of people say they don't like the main character. I was fine with the main character. I didn't like any of the other characters, and I didn't like the relationships that were forming in this. I found them to just be very toxic and not okay. Overall, I didn't like this book. I finished the trilogy and I didn't really like the trilogy. Not a surprise. I probably shouldn't have finished it, but I was interested in what so many people had to say about this book and why so many people liked it. I will say it's super, super fast read, so I'm not upset that I read it or anything. I would have always been interested and curious, but it just wasn't something I enjoyed. Coming in at number 3 is City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. I've never given Cassandra Clare a very high rating. I think I gave Clockwork Prince a 4 out of 5 stars. Haven't read Clockwork Princess. I gave City of Lost Souls a 2 out of 5 stars. Everything else from her has been a 3. Some of those 3s have been generous, but this book I just couldn't stand because it felt like basically the same thing as the last book in the series. This felt like a complete copy of City of Fallen Angels, and I don't know why it was necessary. It didn't really do anything to progress the plot forward, especially when you have a 6-book series. just really frustrated me, and I haven't continued on with the Shadowhunter Chronicles since. It's been like a year, guys. This was the first book I read in 2016. Put me in a huge reading slump. Coming in at number 2. It's probably no surprise to any of you who have been on this channel for a little bit because I recently did a review of it, and that is Everything by Nicola Yoon. My issues with this book are very intense and almost spoilery, so I don't really want to discuss it. I do have a spoiler-free review and a spoilery discussion, so I'll link that in the eye. But the thing about this is I just feel like it teased good representation and then ripped that away, and then also represented other things worse, and I just didn't appreciate the representation that was here. Everything I heard about it said it had great representation, and in my opinion it actually did not. The way it was done about seems very harmful and hurtful to me, so I'm really not about this book. But there are so many good things about Nicola Yoon and her writing, and she is an author of color, so I do appreciate her and her work, and I will be reading more of her works, but this book was just really one of those books that really infuriated me. And coming in at number 1, I'm sure most of you guessed it, it's Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This is the book that got me on the I don't like Colleen Hoover train. I'm sure if I reread a lot of her books that I did like in the past, I wouldn't like them. I have more on my shelf. I don't know if I'm going to read them. I might unhaul them because I feel like just a lot of her works are going to be this infuriating or more. Previously to reading this, I had liked some of Colleen Hoover's books, I hadn't liked others. I do still really love It Ends With Us. That did make it on my favorite books of 2016 list, but what I like about that is because it's so different than a lot of Colleen Hoover's other works. What I dislike so much about this is the main female character has basically no backbone, no say, doesn't care, has no passions, is not driven, does not care about much, and it's just a very unhealthy, toxic relationship. Couldn't get on board with this book at all, and I'm not going to talk about it a lot because I have in the past a lot, but that's definitely my most disliked book of the year. Alright guys, like I said, these are books that I just didn't like. Everyone has their own opinions, and that is totally okay, so do please be respectful of my opinions, and I am totally respectful of yours. If you love one of these books, feel free to tell me in the comments down below. That's fine. We can talk about why we have differing opinions, and that's totally fair. If you haven't already, you should give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.